Murphy Pendleton does not immediately arrive in Silent Hill. The prison bus he's on crashes outside the town, and he willingly, albeit unknowingly, makes the choice to enter the town in order to run from the police. The crash is on the shores of Toluca Lake. Murphy mentions he'd never be able to swim across. Water will haunt Murphy throughout his journey, and here is where it first acts as an obstacle. With only one way to go, Murphy heads towards the road and the first location of the game, the Devil's Pitstop. The Devil's Pitstop is a gas station and diner near the Devil's Pit. As a pit stop, it's defined as a halfway place, a place travelers stop on their way from one location to another. This is fitting, since this is a pit stop on Murphy's trip into Silent Hill, but it also characterizes the diner as a liminal place. Places like hotels, bridges, and pit stops on the road, places between here and there, have long been considered part of some other world outside reality. The name Devil's Pitstop gives us a clear image of what Murphy's about to face. Something hellish, something devilish. It's a pretty common American naming trend. There are hundreds of Devil's locations across the United States. My own state has the Devil's Tramping Ground. There's something fascinating about the devil. Whether or not you believe in the afterlife or heaven, it's easy to imagine evil around the corner, in the dark places of the world. The United States, especially the South, has been obsessed with that devilish aspect of our world for a long time. So much so that it's even appeared in our songs. This naming convention reflects a fascination that has long taken root in our folklore. So the Devil's Pitstop is a halfway point, a liminal place, associated with the big bad fallen angel himself. A bad start for Murphy's journey. To get into the building, the player must climb on the roof. Here we'll see two of the first examples of symbols that will continually appear throughout the game, the raven and the wheelchair. On the roof, there's a wheelchair knocked over on its side, a horrifying implication. Why is it here, and why is it abandoned? It doesn't imply a happy fate for the previous owner. These wheelchairs are left throughout the game as hints to the tragedy at the center of Murphy and Anne's journey. For him, they are mysterious and raise questions. For her, they are a tragic reminder. The raven first appears when Murphy awakens outside the bus. A pamphlet in the diner describes the area of Silent Hill as once having been known as the Nest of the Raven. In popular culture, ravens tend to be ominous, dark figures, implying danger or mystery. As carrion birds, ravens have been associated with war and death, and are often seen as foretellers of misfortune. The Irish saw the raven as a servant of Morrigan, the goddess of war, because ravens are smart critters, and often learned to follow armies, because they knew that wherever the army was going, there would be dead bodies soon after. Entering the building, we see a typical, old-fashioned American diner. It looks ordinary. If there weren't plates of rotting food spread around, it would be almost pleasant. The windows are disgusting and the place is abandoned, but there's nothing supernatural yet. For longtime fans, using the money from the register on the jukebox will lead to a familiar song, which for Murphy means nothing, but for us is a lovely reminder of where we're heading. It's within the pit stop that the first encounter with the Otherworld occurs. Unlike in other games, the Otherworld in Downpour is an active being. It lasts for a short period, but chases after the player viciously when it does. It resembles the chase scenes from Shattered Memories, and further back, the hallway in Borley's Haunted Mansion in Silent Hill 3, where a red light chases Heather and will kill her if it catches up. The Otherworld is a twisted, dark place, made of mix-matched places and locations, and is triggered by water. Specifically, Murphy starts a kitchen fire, which he puts out with the sprinklers. It's a fascinating change compared to previous games. For one, the transformation will almost always relate to a similar scene where water is introduced to the environment. Here, it's sprinklers to put out a sudden fire. A similar change will happen in the Centennial Building. It is ultimately Murphy who creates the transformation. And often the change will relate not just to water, but the turning of a valve. This ties back to the shower room, where Murphy turned the valves to turn on the shower heads. But it is also quite like how Silent Hill 3 shows Valtiel turning valves to activate the transformation. Heather herself does something similar when she turns the bathtub valve in the office building and the Otherworld change begins. Murphy is the only other person in the series shown to have this power to activate the change himself. The layout of the diner changes drastically into long hallways with strangely shaped rooms, cars attached to ceilings, long slides covered in water and layered with attacking spikes. They don't look like specific places in Silent Hill. More likely, they're from Murphy's memory. There's a desk with a record player playing Born Free, the song that played during Murphy's conversation with Sewell. The desk will appear again in the Centennial Building. All around us is the sight and sound of water, a constant reminder of the past. In this first Otherworld, Murphy must create the way forward through rotating the locations in such a way that it opens a path. This won't be the last time rotation is a theme in gameplay. It ties into the Otherworld transformation, the way the valves and turning objects change the world, just like the valves create the Otherworld, the ultimate change in reality. Eventually, the red light reappears and chases after Murphy. The form it takes is interesting. I assumed it was essentially an arrow that targeted in one direction. Playing the game again, it looks like it's more like an orb that radiates outward on all sides. Once it touches Murphy, he begins to disintegrate and screams in horror. Murphy has spent a lot of his time running. It's implied he was a criminal at a younger age after his time at the orphanage. Then he purposefully got himself arrested after a long car chase. Not only has he been running from the police and is currently running from them, and specifically, he's running from his past, trying to forget what happened. The Otherworld as a dangerous force constantly chasing him and destroying him at first touch reflects how right now he is not prepared to face the past, and his only choice is to keep running. It also likely ties to the last words that Officer Coleridge said to him, which Murphy remembers during the first Otherworld change. Murphy, run. Near the end of the Otherworld level, there is a long dark stairwell Murphy must climb, but no matter how long he climbs it, he gets nowhere until he turns around. He must go in an entirely different direction to move ahead. It's similar to how his road to revenge has led him to the wrong path. Unless he changes direction, unless he makes the choice to change, he'll never get anywhere.